Hey guys, this is part two of the Unit 2 study guide. In this video, we are going to focus on the progressive era. Alright, so let's go straight into it. Number one, progressives sought to cure the many social problems they believed were caused by what? Well, they believed that many problems were caused by urbanization. So that's the idea of people going to the cities. And then the second one is going to be industrialization. I guess you could say that industrialization caused urbanization, so you might want to put industrialization first, but no big deal. Number two, what did progressives think needed to play a more active role in solving society's problems? They wanted the government to play a bigger role rather than laissez-faire. They wanted more of a hands-on government. They wanted the government to regulate some of these problems that were occurring during the time. Number three, what progressive amendment? Remember, the progressive amendments are amendments 16, 17, 18, and 19. Which one of those was added to hopefully end political corruption through the direct election of senators? That is the 17th Amendment. Number four, which amendment guaranteed women's suffrage? That's the 19th Amendment. Writers with a willingness to expose the corruption of U.S. society during the progressive era are referred to as muckrakers. Muckrakers. Remember, those are the people that are basically raking the filth of corruption in the society and exposing it to what's actually happening, or exposing the corruption, the bad things, the pollution, the tenements, just the incredible bad situations to the U.S. society through journalism. Number six, Upton Sinclair. Upton Sinclair would be a muckraker. Which act did the jungle lead to? That is the Meat Inspection Act. Meat Inspection Act. The next one, number seven, during TR's administration, Congress attempted to regulate railroad rates through what government agency? The ICC. Okay. Way to remember this is that the C's stand for choo-choo, like a train. So the ICC. Eight, what are three legacies of the progressives? You could list several of these legacies. They helped end child labor. You can list one of the amendments, the direct election of senators. You could also put regulating businesses. Trust busting is a big one. Women's suffrage. Now remember, women's suffrage, that means that women get the right to vote, not that women are suffering, but women get the right to vote. Those are just a few for the test. I would definitely know three of those. Number nine, who was the most outspoken and liked progressive president? It's going to be TR. So Theodore Roosevelt. Remember, he was crazy. He was insane. This dude was almost hero-like with some of the stuff that he did. So he was going to be incredibly outspoken, and he will be the most liked progressive president out of the three. Number 10, which amendment established a personal income tax? That is the 16th Amendment. 16. Who was the most outspoken and liked progressive president? That one is just a copy of number 9. So that is going to be TR again. TR. Number 12, what was the primary purpose of the Federal Reserve System? They are going to regulate the money supply. We talked about that in the progressive lecture. Number 13, what was the reason for the initiative and referendum? This is not directly in your notes. However, it is. We did talk about it. I'm not going to hold you responsible for this question. You're not going to be held responsible for this one. So this one you can just you can skip. However, I would like you to at least, you can skip it for when you're studying for the test, but I do want you to write something in for the study guide, right? To stimulate political reforms. So with this, they're getting the people closer to the government. They're having the people essentially more direct to what's going on. This is much like a direct democracy would. But all you have to know is just that this is going to stimulate political reforms. And like I said, for this one, don't worry about it for the test. It's not going to be on there. Number 14. What were three major areas of reform for progressives? One is going to be social reform. And then, like that question right here, this is going to be political reform. And then also economic reform. Reforms. So think, for this one, think they want to regulate businesses. Okay, political. Okay. Number 15, which amendment prohibited the sale of alcohol? The 18th Amendment. That's the 18th Amendment. That will later be repealed with the 21st Amendment. Number 16, the Sherman Antitrust Act and the Clayton Antitrust Act were passed in an effort to, well, I guess all you have to do is really focus on these words. Antitrust is in the actual word. So because they're antitrust, well, what do you think they're going to do? They want to break trusts. To break trusts. And with this, they want to break trust. Well, why do they want to actually break trust? They want to get rid of monopolies. And remember, the idea of trust is going to create monopolies. So when they break these trusts, because it's the Sherman Antitrust Act and the Clayton Antitrust Act, they're going to break these trusts and they're going to get rid of monopolies. Number 17, in How the Other Half Lives, Jacob Riis exposed what? He exposed tenements. Tenements, or the urban poor living conditions. All right. Writers, politicians, and reformers who fought for change due to the problems created during the Industrial Revolution. These are going to be called progressives. And these are people that want progress. They want change. They want the society to move to the better. So the keyword there is change. Number 19, the purpose of the Children's Bureau was to investigate and report upon the welfare of kids or children. Number 20, the most noticeable limit to progressivism was its failure to address racial issues. It's a big one, racial issues. We're going to talk more about racial issues later in the class. But that's one thing it's really not going to fight for. Moving on, 21, progressive laws often resulted in blank of federal power. Well, progressive laws, they are expanding the government. The government is now becoming more involved in people's lives. So it is going to increase the power, the federal power of the government. 22, a belief shared by Presidents Theodore Blank, William Blank, and Woodrow Blank is that the federal government should use its power to regulate unfair business practices. These are just the first, or not the first three, but the three progressive presidents. So Roosevelt will be the first one. He will become president in 1901. Taft, he's going to become president in 1909 officially. He'll win the election in 1908. And then Wilson, he will become president in 1913. He will win the election of 1912. All right, so that does it. That does it for the Unit 2 study guide. Hopefully this video helped. And I will see you guys later.